Greetings programs, and welcome to one that's a bit out of the left field, although it's a game that I have been aware of for absolutely ages and have played a fair bit. I've just never mentioned it or covered it on the channel before. This is the Battle for Wesnoth, an open source, completely free game that first came out in 2003 and has been under active development ever since. And given I looked this up, it was June 2003, so it's almost 15 years as of recording this video, and it's quite a fair bit of polish in that time. So what is it? Well, it is a fantasy themed turn-based strategy game that's all based around hexes, like a lot of the old SSI games. And because it's open source, it is one that has an awful lot of user-made stuff added to it as well. Now, it comes with a whole bunch of default campaigns, which have all got a fair bit of playtime just from them. And if that's not enough for you, you can click on the add-ons button, and there is so much more. There are user-made campaigns, there are user-made like animation sets and unit sets and all different kinds of like scenarios. There's multiplayer stuff. There's just so much in Wesnoth that has been added to it over the years. And so although the base game, if you like, is this fantasy setting, there are user-made things you can add that, you know, add like Napoleonic era battles and giant maps of Europe and, you know, sci-fi themed things and all kinds of weird and wonderful stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do one of the very easiest like newbie campaigns and just show you the mechanics, and I'm even going to leave it on the easiest difficulty because it has been a little while since I played this. I ran across some reference to it the other day and I thought, Wesnoth, I haven't played that in ages. And so I decided to re-download it and just have a play around, and then I thought, why not record some stuff while I'm at it? So this is the setup for this little scenario, which only has 4 parts to it. So basically, bad evil mage. We have to defeat the bad evil mage. The kind of in between the campaign rounds, it's all kind of text based, but you get some text and stuff actually in the rounds themselves. And I'm kind of flicking through these. You can pause if you really want to, but basically there's a bad mage we have to defeat. So there's no kind of like voice work or anything like that. It's a relatively compact client because it's all pixel art, basically. It's not trying to be massively flashy. It has had some facelifts over the years, but it's one of the ways in which it's always been quite kind of friendly to modification by users, or to users to come up with their own additions to it, because there's a much lower bar to pass in terms of making your own pixel art than there is with a lot of modern games, where if you want to, you know, they might be conducive to having stuff added to them, but you need some 3D software, you need some knowledge, and you need to know how to texture stuff and do all that kind of thing. So yeah, anyway, so there are various things going on. There's a bit of text at the start of the round, and basically bad mage, we have to defeat the bad mage, and hopefully I can do it in not too long a time, because there are turn limits. We've got 18 turns to do this. Gold is gathered from villages. You have to take and hold villages, and that's a big part of the game, is making sure you hold enough villages to stay in the fight, because gold is how you recruit new units. And it is a perfectly viable strategy to get some faster units that have more movement and to send them around hoovering up the enemy villages. And conversely, you have to try and protect your own villages from the AI doing the same thing. So we've started off with a bunch of units. The one with the crown here, that's the leader unit. If we lose the leader unit, we have lost the scenario. and sometimes you have multiple leader units depending on what scenario you're in. And we've also got these units here which have a little bar underneath them, and these are basically, if I remember correctly, they're maintenance free, because if you call in units, you have to pay an upkeep cost. So you don't just have a fixed income and you can just keep calling in units. No, there's kind of a fixed limit on how much you can call in based on how many villages you hold at any given moment. But these ones, you want to try and keep these ones alive over multiple campaigns, because one of the features of this, and we can't do it now, but you can call in veterans from previous scenarios. And because this is the first part of this campaign, we can't do that, but it is worth keeping your experienced units alive, and it's worth keeping these units alive because you don't have to pay upkeep on them, and so that's really useful for later on. And in addition to the hex-based the tiles, moving them around, they also upgrade these units, so you want to keep your experienced units alive because they do more damage, and they get sometimes abilities depending on what campaign you're in, what scenario you're in. So we've got 40 gold at the moment. We're just going to call in, let's say 2 bowmen. We can't do anything more than that. I can move my leader unit. They are a perfectly capable fighter themselves, and there's a bit of a balancing act, I seem to remember, with some of the campaigns where you want to have your lead unit go and fight so they can upgrade to the next level, which we can even unit description. There's a whole, you can look up what the units do and what their strengths are and what terrains they're strong on and all that kind of thing. And you basically want to, you want to get them upgraded as the campaign goes along, but you don't want to risk them too much, and you don't want to have them away from the main keep for too long, because if you get them away from a keep, then they can't recruit units. Now, on this particular map, if I move them there, I can recruit units now in those castle areas, but that puts them rather closer to the fight, which is a bit dangerous that early on. So what we're going to do is just going to end turn, obviously, and they're going to call in a bunch of rather nasty looking creatures, but nasty looking creatures. There are campaigns where you can play as there's one of the vanilla campaigns where you can play as a necromancer, and it's all about your rise to power and quest for, I think it's a quest for immortality. I can't remember. It's been so long since I played this game. A good couple of years. I went through a phase where I just was on a real open source free to play, or not even free to play, just open source free games for a couple of years. And I don't know, there's a couple of games from that are still kicking around that I could potentially cover, like Open Transport Tycoon and Simutrans, are both similar games that I put a lot of hours into, similar to each other, not similar to this. And I'm trying to think what else. There was a couple. There was some kind of shooty game I seem to remember. There was a Western themed one. And what was the World War II one? I can't remember. And there's all kinds of, some of them aren't even open source. They're ones that were released as abandonware, or not abandonware, but they were released as freeware when they were once upon a time commercial games. And did I accidentally move my? Oops, I did. That they were released as freeware by publishers. Heck, I think EA's done that with some of the older Command and Conquer titles. I'm sure some of those are now freeware and just anyone can go and download them and play them. Right, oh, that horse unit's taking a bit of a battering. Oh, that's unfortunate. They ganged up on it, which is sort of not good. I'm trying to open up 2 fronts here. I'm a terrible strategist, but if I... Right, I mean, the horse guys, you want to not... It's the nature of the hex-based thing, is you want to not get them surrounded if possible, and you want to leave them avenues to fall back if possible, but... it's a bit RNG sometimes. It is basically an RNG system as to whether you hit or not, which can be a little bit annoying. But it's possible to save scum. You can go back to a turn and redo fights, and I think there's actually an option in the settings where it sets it so it's the same RNG every time, or it can be random RNG. Well, not same RNG. You know, the result of the RNG roll is kind of like the same every time, so that you can't save scum it, basically. Theoretically, I could, though. Right, that's annoying, though. 2 of my cavalry units down already, but they are quite vulnerable to the... Maybe I should have held them back a bit more to let these forces catch up, but never mind. Right, that's what done. Right, we're going to have to pull them back to... If we get them to that village there, they're poisoned at the moment, so they're going to lose health steadily over turns, but if you can get them onto a village, basically, they can heal. And move up some more units there. Possibly have too many troops down here right now, but then I can, you know, bring them up round behind and we can close the noose. At least that's my thinking. Could be completely wrong. They're quite hard to hit, bats. They're very weak, but the annoying thing about the bats is they can drain the health of their enemies. Right, we've got a bit more gold now, so we'll call in some units on the next turn. That was some... having lost like most of my cavalry already, that's probably not good. Right, so apparently we're waiting for somebody to spring a trap. I can get them on there. If you just leave them out of combat, they heal by, I think, 2 hit points per round. But if you have them on a village in between rounds of combat, then it actually heals them for more. And I can't remember how much exactly, but I guess we'll find out. And some, you'll note, some only have melee attacks. I don't know if there are any... Oh no, actually some of them do have only ranged attacks, because we fought some of the mages, or the whatever, from that were raised by that guy. They only have ranged attacks. So yeah, there can be some that are, you know, vulnerable, especially to other types of units, because they don't have any counter-attack, as it were. Right, we're going to recruit some units, so we can actually get in another horseman. And should we say another spearman? Part of my strategy with having some units down here is I can take these villages. If I deprive them of gold income, they then can't actually call in more units. Right, we're going to have to try and get that guy out there, but he might die of poison damage before he can actually get anywhere. Right, so we'll send these units more up here. And actually we'll send that guy up across the bridge there. Because he's in the water, he's at a severe disadvantage in terms of actually hitting anything. Oh, no, of course we can't hit them there because we have to be in the hexes directly around. So, there are healer units as well. We don't have access to those at the moment, but you can, if you have access to magicians, you can actually get mages that can become white mages that can like have a healing aura and that could help the units around them. But we don't have access to that, so we're just gonna lose a bunch of guys. I'm not doing too badly so far, but I mean, bear in mind this is like the newbie scenario. Well, that guy was probably gonna die of poison damage anyway. I might be able to get them on that village. Just have to kill this bat though before this bat can kill anybody. And because the bat's a flying unit, and there are other different various kinds of flying units, they tend to be good on evasion, but they aren't necessarily, you know what, let's bring up that. Oh, no. Hit the undo key. I wanted to bring them there. And you can undo the last turn, which is quite nice. Right, oh, that bat did quite a lot of damage there. But we're kind of steadily winning this fight so far. We'll leave them there for another turn and they can heal up a bit more. But yeah, there's all, and this is just, you know, this is just the kind of the default, not tile set, but the default set of fantasy units, and there's the various scenarios that modify them, and there's just all kinds of cool things going on with this game. It offers a lot of flexibility for people to have added their own things. Oh, we might lose this unit as well. We'll see. Right, time to get this guy back down in the fight. And do a spear charge and take care of that nasty old zombie. We might get them there in time. They're on 1 hit point. They might just fall over and die from poison damage. I think they probably will. This bat's turning out to be very annoying. Die, stupid bat. No. You see the little bar next to the health bar? That's experience. So you want to kill... This is always a strategy, and this is something that AI will try and do as well. You want to kill the ones that are just about to level up. Or that are close to leveling up. Because if they level up, they then get essentially a full free heal. So you don't want that to happen. And the AI will do exactly the same thing. It will try and stop your units from leveling up where possible. So you've always got that thing of, you know, you want them in one more fight so they can get that level up. But the AI will do its darndest to kill them. To stop them getting that level up. Right, there is actually... Okay, we'll move them there. I will actually move up my leader unit onto that little keep there. And let's see if we can finish off this bat. Oh, I should have done a... Never mind. We're probably going to lose one of those units unless I get lucky with the RNG. I'll move that footman over there. Right, he's going to be starting to run out of gold at this point. Got quite a lot of beat up units though. 10 of 18 turns, but we're getting there. We're definitely getting there. Right, I don't think they can die from poison damage, which is quite useful. We'll actually move that guy to there. Because we do want to... I've got 2 poisoned units here to deal with, but it's, you know, it'll try and kill them first. We're going to keep them back. We're going to engage that guy with some of my healthier units, and we'll go from there. This bat will just not die. There we go. There was only a 40% chance to kill it, but still, it did not want to go down. Right. So we're going to move that up there, and that'll actually, you can queue up movement for multiple turns. I tend not to, because it can be hard to cancel those turns, but sometimes it can be useful if you've got a particular destination for them in mind. Right, so we can now recruit another horseman, because they're quite powerful units. And we'll have him... Oh, I misclicked, but the misclick took the unit where I wanted it to go anyway. Well done, me. Right, so we've now firmly, you know, we've got this. Oof. Well, that's why horsemen can be quite powerful. There were some nasty hits right there. Right. So we'll leave them units be so they can get a bit of minor healing. He's only got 1 village left now, and he's like, the zombies are the absolute most basic units he can call in. We'll start moving that unit back across now as well. And basically we just surround it and beat it up. And you'll see when we end it, but the quicker you can win a scenario, the quicker you can, like in this case, it is... objectives, basically kill the mage. Sometimes you have to get a certain unit to a certain point on the map, or there's some other objective that you have to complete, but the quicker you do it, the better, because you get some bonus starting gold for the next round, essentially. Anyway, so I can just start to surround this guy. Ah, no, we missed both our attacks there. That's slightly annoying. I'm just going to take out this zombie minion. We do have to get some healing on the rest of these guys, though. They're really quite beat up. I'm going to wait one more round, actually. He got 10 hit points back. Get him healed. He can't die from the poison, but he could die from somebody trying to kill him. Now, this is... like, I haven't even explained the combat screen yet, but, you know, you see what hit points they've got on XP level, what level they are. We're going to go with melee attacks against this guy, because you can see right here that his ranged attack is far stronger and has a far better chance to hit, so... You really want to, like, it might not necessarily be the best attack for your guy, but you have to consider what they're going to be counter-attacking with. And in this case, his counter-attack would be really nasty. Right, oh, there's a mist. I'm going to have to pull him back to heal on the next turn. I'm getting a bit beat up, but, you know, we've got some fresh forces en route. We can even at this point move our main dude up and get him in on the action. We can move some of these people around as well. Might as well cure that guy while we're here. Right, we're going to pull that one up there. That's his last village, and basically he's going to have no more gold at that point. And we'll just keep attacking. And we're almost done with this. I have done this scenario in quicker time, most likely, but it demonstrates, you know, it demonstrates all how the game works, and that's the main thing, right? Right, who's going to get the finishing blow? Well, not that guy, apparently. That was a bit inconclusive. Move this fresh spearman up here, and there we go. Goodbye, Mordak. Well, apparently my brother never turned up, and we're going to have to go and search for him. But we're not going to go through the whole scenario here. This is just, you know, I wanted to do the first part of it, just to demonstrate how the game works. And as you see there, we get some bonus gold for finishing slightly early. End scenario, and yes, I will overwrite that, so I can skip all that. We'll just go back to the main menu at this point. So that's Battle for Wesnoth. You can even find it on Steam now. Some of these free games, like I discovered Simutrans, you can find it on Steam. Wesnoth you can also find on Steam, but you can also go to wesnoth.org and download it there, and I think it's a couple of 100 megabytes for the installer. It doesn't weigh a lot, this game. It has a whole bunch of extra stuff you can get for it, and it's free. What more do you want? Really, what more do you want than that? So that's Battle for Wesnoth, and hopefully you have found this video interesting and entertaining, and if you have, you can hit the like button, you can leave any comments below, you can sub to my channel if you haven't already, and as always, stay tuned for more.